Hi guys, welcome back to OffBrand with OnBrand.
Podcast where we talk about business, branding, motherhood, and the messy moments in between. Those are my favorite. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Welcome back, guys. Flo thought of this new idea.
I did. So we thought of this new idea where we want to provide you guys with a social media tip or something useful that you could bring into your business or your life.
Yeah, because we're talking about off-brand with on-brand, but that also means that you need to know what's on-brand with on-brand.
So today's takeaway is to get meta verified on Instagram. So that's like that blue little check that you see on your Instagram.
It's not about being cool, even though you probably will look cooler with it. It's very official, but it's more about protecting your account. If you verify yourself on Instagram, hackers can't hack you.
You could talk to someone easily. You have a chat option 24/7
With a human being.
With a human being, and it's just funny how you have to pay for it, but you still look cooler. The whole
It's
thing's
$15.99, and if
the
you
whole
actually
thing.
care about your Instagram account, just do it because you don't want to be on the other side of that coin, and that's a story for another time.
Yes, it is. So everyone do it and send us a snap of your
And you're welcome.
checks.
Make the blue check great again. So today's episode is going to be all about motherhood, but also about finding your way, finding your place, learning if you're enough. We have a really special guest that we actually got a lot of people asking to bring onto the pod. So we're very excited to introduce Norma Gindi, who is an author, a mom, a parenting coach. She wrote a book called I'm Not a Psychologist, but I do have a PhD in motherhood, which
I love that name.
I love that name. It's already telling us that we're going to have an amazing and very interesting and insightful conversation today. So let's get into it. Okay. Hi, Norma.
Hi, Norma.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay.
This is so fun.
So happy to have you.
Thank you.
So I guess for anyone that doesn't know, which I'm sure they all do, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
And how you became the parenting guru.
Legit guru.
Thank you. My name is Norma Gindi, and I'm a parenting coach. And if you would have asked me 20 years ago if I would be sitting here talking about being a parenting coach, I would laugh. But I think that life took me on this path of self-growth through having children and being a mother. And it's been very fulfilling and rewarding at the same time. And also, I would say very spiritual journey.
Explain more about that.
Yeah. So as I was raising my daughter, who's now 17, when she was younger, I would say about 1-2 years old, she was that strong-willed child. And I remember thinking, like every time she tantrumed or misbehaved, I remember thinking, I am lost.
How am I going to make it out of this alive?
How am I going to make this out alive?
So hard.
And I remember seeing at one point my daughter yelling and sounding very much like me.
Oh my God.
And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like almost it was like an aha moment for me that, you know, if I don't correct the way I am parenting, how is she ever going to learn how to, you know, have coping skills and
Was
all the
part of
things
you like
she needs.
freaked out by that? Was that why you were like, shoot, I need to do something?
Yeah. And
Like
I
the
was
things
like,
that you don't like, how you react, you saw.
I saw in her, and I really wanted to be a good mother. It was like very important to me. Like I know for so many moms, but it was really important to me. So I started going to parenting classes, and I was like, wow, there's a goal, there's direction. This all sounds amazing. I could really implement these skills at home. And
Even with a strong-willed child.
even with a strong-willed child.
Okay.
And I was like, it took me a minute to realize that when I changed, when I started working on myself, I saw a huge difference in the way that my daughter was behaving. And I realized that I had much more control by modeling the very behavior that I wanted to see in her. So it was really very empowering, like that I could really make a difference in her life by being my best self.
And
So-
like not
that.
yelling at her and telling her like, stop doing that and you do
Yes.
this, which is like what you automatically think is like the first mom
Right.
response is like
Right.
critique the kid.
For
Yes.
sure.
But it's really fix you.
Right.
So I love that. And I
Right.
also feel very similar to like my journey. in motherhood the same way. So
Yeah,
it's
sometimes
amazing.
we have to look in the mirror before we could look at our kids and really take a hard look at ourselves and say, sometimes it's funny. I'll always ask parents, like, when they tell me my child's cursing, and I'll say, well, do you curse at home? And they'll say, yeah, a little bit. And I'm like, I have to make that connection for them, that,
So true.
Let them come to it on their own, but what they see is
yeah,
what they do.
yeah, exactly. And of course, for younger kids, they don't know the difference between, an adult cursing or them
Like what's
cursing.
age appropriate.
Yeah. And even like the slightest thing, like stupid, is a bad word when it comes to a toddler saying it. But a parent who says it, it doesn't come off that
Very
strong.
true.
I'm happy I met you, honestly, because
Where'd you
when I
guys meet?
first
How'd
had
you meet her?
from, I don't know,
From
Ruthie, no, Instagram, I asked her
Oh,
a
cute.
question. But when I first had my son, and there's like such a big, like, no one tells you what to do. Everyone mother is different. It's like you follow your sister, your mom. And he told me something that really stuck with me: do everything out of love. And I love that.
Yes.
We
So it was
elaborate
like-
on that.
It was like, whatever you're doing, it could be, you're never giving too much love. So tell me what you said when you told me that.
yes.
It was very cute.
You can't spoil kids with love. And in fact, you can't discipline a child without loving them through it. So a lot of parents feel like if I love my kid when they misbehave, I'm just encouraging
The behavior,
more
yeah.
bad behavior. But it's not true. When we love our kids, we send the message that you are not attached to the behavior. So, in other words, you are good, you are always good, and you are always accepted, but the behavior is not necessarily appropriate. And let me help you learn the correct behavior to replace it with. We can't teach if we don't have a good relationship.
I
True.
feel like that's really the difference between kind of how past generations have looked at parenting versus now, where they were like, don't make your kids too soft, and they got to come to the real world, and like if they do something wrong, call it out. But that, I think, was the missing piece, was like nobody ever gave you the I love you, but this is not how we act. They just said this is not how we act,
Right.
and they didn't establish that security and that, like what you were saying, that connection.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So
So
true.
it's so important to be able to, first of all, it's so healthy to model being able to be upset by a child's behavior, but also to be able to love them at the same time is such a beautiful thing, because we're raising kids to be able to express their disappointments,
Yes.
but with the commitment of unconditional love, hopefully with their spouses and their own kids, and loving someone through a misbehavior. Think about it. If you made a mistake, right? And Florence, said, it's okay,
She has recently done that.
Yeah, it's okay. We all make mistakes.
I'm shaking on the other side of the phone, and she's like, "It's okay. Everything's meant to be. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out." I go,
It's
"This
okay.
girl's so
That's not you.
nice."
You lost your temper. You lost your cool, but you'll do better next time. Like, that's totally not who you
And
It's
do
a
they
are.
really, you
feeling
think
of
they
relief.
really do better after? Like if you're not so tough and like
Yeah.
strict on them?
I did it with one of my kids because I also have a strong-willed kid, and in the beginning, I was so thrown off because when I had kids, like Flo said, there's no manual. There's
Nothing.
nobody tells you anything. They don't give you like, this is what kind of kid you're having.
Right.
So I was kind of just like learning as I went, and I was a first-time mom, and then I kind of realized that that was not working. And how many times like I'm going to yell, and it's just not. We're reliving the same thing every day. So I think when I started to like, I thought of it in the moment as a little bit dramatic and like teal. I don't know what the right terminology to say that is, but when you're like, how are you feeling today? And,
Yeah.
really tell me, I'm disappointed, mommy. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm happy he tells me that, because then we're able to like talk it out. And then I tell him, okay, but this is what we're doing, or this is what we're not doing. And that's it. Or he's in the middle of a crazy tantrum, like, do you need a hug? And my husband laughs at me, but it really works, as opposed to when I was yelling at him in his tantrum,
Makes it
lighting the
worse.
fire even more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Also,
I feel like it does. There's
Like you're
truth to it.
saying, I believe people can't grow from a hole. So when someone feels like you're labeling them, you're bad and you're disrespectful and, you don't know how to control your temper, are you really going to want to learn to be a better person? Probably not.
No, you feel so bad about yourself in the
Right.
moment. You
and
just
you'll
like
be
shut down.
defensive.
Yeah.
You'll be super defensive.
Yeah,
Like,
even
no,
me.
I'm not. Like, and then kids will test you to, and subconsciously, really, to see like how far can I go until you stop loving me.
That's a crazy thing that you just said, because some people that I feel like are listening that maybe aren't as into their journey yet of parenting, like Flo, you have a tiny baby.
Tiny.
He's so cute.
So-
He's one.
so
He's
cute.
adorable, the cutest thing. And what does he do? Nothing. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you didn't get to that stage yet, but then like you get to a little bit older and then there's toddlers and, you know,
Yes.
then they start to like push boundaries and you're
Yep.
like, why would a kid do that? Like, why would they test me so much? And why do I keep having to prove that I love them? And then I even remember like as a teenager, like I love to push the boundaries and my parents will probably laugh when I say
Yeah.
this, but it really is true. And you want to see that your parents are there for you through thick and thin.
Yes.
So
With acceptance.
you just
Yeah.
you pull the line, you toe the line, whatever the terminology is. And I think if you give that reassurance so early on
Yes.
that you're not losing me here, but you know, this is our boundary where I'm still going to be your parent, but I love you
Yes.
all the time. It changes and you're more able to listen to them because you don't have that same worry. Like,
Yes.
is this so bad that they're never going to look at me again or, you know, accept me
Yes.
how for what I did or what I was. So I feel like in every stage you kind of learn, but in the moment, what you said was very powerful. And I think if you're thinking twice about it, you should listen to this part again because it's a very powerful statement.
It really is. And the funny part is that when we start listening to our kids, really listening, and you know, they will highlight all the areas where we need to improve in.
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of times it's our patience, it's our temper. And I find that when we look for opportunities to learn from our kids, then we will become our best selves and our kids will have a model to be able to, you know, they will be able to have somebody who walks the walk, not just talks the talk. How many times do we say, you know, clean up your toys or, you know, stop talking to your brother like that? But when we tell them stop doing that, they don't know what to do instead.
I love that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
So then you tell them what's something you would recommend.
Right. So in other words, like we have to show them what it looks like to communicate effectively and to express themselves in a better way. So not to say stop hitting your brother, but you could say hitting your brother is unacceptable, which number one is, you know, I accept you, but we don't accept hitting, right? And it's unsafe when we use our hands in this house. So, you know, if you're angry and you seem very angry, you could go, let's come up with some ideas on what you could do when you're super angry. Obviously, this is not in the moment. And I have one of my kids was punching pillows in another room. And I remember my husband saying, like, is this like okay? You know,
I love when the husbands
Like,
come in
is this
and they're
okay?
like,
And
"Oh,
I'm
is
like,
the
yeah,
kid
it's a great
normal?"
step.
Thanks for
He
getting involved.
He paused,
Yes,
and we had
it
a
is.
code red word.
Yeah.
And every time he was about to hit or get upset, he'd be like, "Code red," and I'd be like, "Great, let's go."
Let's go.
And he would just punch the pillows. And then from there, I said, "Okay, now we could learn on how to, you know, build some more coping skills that, you know." But the point is that let's teach them how to pause. That's the first step.
We
And, like,
also
work
have
with
to
their
pause.
age.
We also do.
Yeah.
As moms, we have
Yes.
to pause, put our phone
Yes.
down.
Yes. What does it look like?
Yeah.
I think that's the big question. Like for kids, it's we could say everything we want to say. We could teach them everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it look like is the question. Kids don't learn from what we tell them. They learn from what they see.
It's true.
So
Is there like common things that people come to you with and say like, I'm struggling with such and such, and maybe it's something that like, yes, speaking, not cursing is an easy thing to model because that's in my control to model. But like, let's say with hitting your brother, or let's say with being, you know, disrespectful,
yes.
or something in school or friends, is there situations where the modeling thing is harder to do? And then is there other
Yes.
you
So definitely we have opportunities at home to, you know, be a mediator, to teach them how to communicate in a healthy and effective way, being seen and heard, feeling respected, having boundaries that are not just for the oldest child, but for all siblings. I find it's funny, you asked a good question. I'm finding that I'm getting tons of phone calls about sibling rivalry. And what I'm really finding is that parents often treat the oldest child to such a high standard. They just expect them to be adults.
But I'm the oldest, so I'm going to say yes to this, everything that you're saying.
And they walk around, these little babies walk around telling their older siblings, I want that. And the mom's like, just give it to him. Just give it to him. Or like, he's watching. Can you just let him watch Cocomelon?
Yeah.
Yeah, just let him sit in your room. It's okay. He wants to sit in your chair. Let him. I can't deal with this right now.
I know.
Just give it to him. And then we're raising these little kids that have no respect for their older siblings. And we wonder why. So a lot of times I'll tell parents, you got to flip the script. These older kids feel that they have no position in the family. They're not secure in their position.
Yeah, we're just asking them to compromise everything.
Yeah, just give it. Or you're the oldest. Can you just stop? The other kids are giving me a hard time, but could you just be, helpful and not contribute? And we really are setting the stage for sibling rivalry when we do that. So all of a sudden, you'll find that older kids don't love their younger siblings, and they don't connect with them, and we wonder why. And I find myself telling parents to walk around telling their younger siblings, you must respect your older brother.
I've never heard that before. I like this.
Yeah, or you must respect your older sister. And I would say 100% of the time, the older kid cools down.
Because they feel validated, they feel like you see them, and then the other kid also follows what you say.
Yes.
So
and they become less, they stop fighting. All of a sudden they stop fighting and they start playing.
I feel like also comparing between siblings is a big one.
Absolutely.
Like
look how your brother's doing his homework. Look how your sister's eating her dinner nicely. That's also
big.
Yeah.
I feel like that goes into what we were talking about off camera when we were on a call, but we were saying parent the child you have. Each kid is a different opportunity, blessing, challenge, all of the things.
Yes.
So maybe we could talk a little bit about that of how to kind of go from kid to kid and
according to his way.
Yeah.
So a mother once asked me recently, she said, I grew up very neat and organized, and am I going to mess up my kids? Should I totally let them be because I'm a little OCD? And I said, well, which kid are you talking about? And she said, no, I mean all my kids. So I said, so that's the issue. It's not what parenting style is right. It's what parenting style is right for your child. So you'll find that a child with ADHD will thrive with routine and structure.
Yes.
Whereas for a child who is more anxious and type A and already feels that internal pressure, you want to lighten them up and be looser and not add to their stress.
Yeah.
So
lean into the creative part
right.
instead.
So there's no parenting, there's no specific parenting style. I mean, we could call it, authoritative. There's 3 types of parenting styles. We want to be in the middle where we're not permissive, we're not authoritarian, but we're somewhere in the middle, which means that we set boundaries with love. That's really the balance. But I would say that I wouldn't even get caught up in that. I would get really focused on what your child needs, what kind of parenting style is right for your child. And before anything else, what is my relationship like with this child? Because even if I have the best parenting approach and the best tips and the best skills, if my relationship is not solid with this kid,
they're ignoring you.
I don't have access to them.
How do you build that relationship then?
Yeah, so relationship first. Whenever a kid is acting out, or, hopefully they don't have to wait to act, we don't have to wait for them to act out. But I always say, go back to basics. And it's funny because it's such an easy thing to say, but it's such a hard thing to do.
Yes.
Right? It's it's simple. Just connect with your kids, love them, play with them, spend time with them. admire them, stay away from criticizing them and really disciplining them.
And cook dinner, do homework, and make
do
sure you
all
have
that,
groceries, and make sure the house is clean,
right,
make sure everybody has clothes for the
right,
holiday, and we
right.
could keep going.
Yes, exactly.
Do it
so
all.
carving out that time to really connect with your kids
And connecting with your kids.
right is so hard. It's
true.
not easy.
We have so
So
much
we
going
have
on.
to, like, every time a parent calls me and says there's an issue going on with a child, I always like to know from 1 to 10, how's your relationship with the child? And usually we first have to get on a positive track before we could teach. So I always say put discipline aside, because right now you have no access to that. And when you think about teenagers, older kids, right? There's no such thing as discipline at a certain point.
Yeah, they
right?
realize I could do whatever I want in my life.
So that's why the relationship's so important.
Right. And what's going to really hold a child?
Yeah, it's
like,
the respect they have for you.
right.
So how would you say, like, the stages of parenting? So in the beginning, it's more quality time, then it's learning, then it's quality time again.
You're talking about like ages, toddler,
Yeah,
teen,
like
thing?
stages of children.
It's a good question. So I think in the first few years of their lives, it's very physical, right? We feed them physically, we carry them physically, we very cuddly with them.
Run after them.
Right, run after them. It's much less emotional. And as kids grow up, I think the issue becomes they need us less physically. And we associate that with not needing us as much emotionally, too. That emotional security has to be a constant, even when they're 30 years old, 40 years old. So they could physically become independent, but all people need to feel emotionally connected to
I
their
feel like that
How do you
also
do that?
starts
Like,
young,
you
know,
check
like
in?
4, 5. That's when they start to like kind of realize
Yeah.
like
so,
love and, things like that.
Yeah. So when when you have teenagers, for example, you could not see them all night, and they could come home, go to their room, do their homework. By the time they're out of their room, they're going out, you're going to sleep. It could just be like
Yeah.
So it's so important to have like in mind, like, I need to carve out this time that works for her and that works for me. Really make an effort, because there's going to be a time where they're so physically independent, but they always need their mom.
Teen me is saying this to anybody who has teenage kids that's a mom. You might feel like your kids don't want to talk to you and they're pushing you away, and like they're just not in that stage, and they don't want to like be your bestie. But at the end of the day, it's worth you trying to make the effort, even if you feel stupid sometimes, or like that they're dismissing you, because they really do.
Yes.
They're testing you. Like you said before, they are testing you,
Yeah.
and they're gonna, some might do it harder than others, but show up and prove that you really care and that you're there for them, because it means a lot.
It does. It goes a long way. And then also I would add to that, for teens, we want to stay away from judgment, lecturing, because you'll lose them,
It's hard. Yeah.
And that's so hard. I'm dreading
Right.
the day that
So
I get to that
just
stage.
being curious, like, oh, what do you think, how do you think that's going to play out with your friend? Like, and planting seeds and just, trying to guide them, but in a very non-abrasive way.
Yeah.
So relationship is always constant. And that means, Florence, like you were asking, like, what does that mean? It means feeling connected in a unconditional way. Like, I could come home from a horrible day at school, getting in trouble, having a letter sent home, and fighting with my friends, and I know that the person that I'm coming home to is not going to yell at me. You want to be that safe place for them.
Yeah.
And then later, when things are calm and they already got that dose of you that's non-judgmental and
So
that
be
still
warm
loves
and
them
loving first,
And
and then you
then-
come
and then
in
I
with
would
the like
revisit
parent
and
moment.
say, okay, let's talk about what happened today.
I like that.
Yeah.
You're saying kids are all different. Do you think some kids need more of the fearful approach?
Structure.
Fear-based parenting, yes, your kid will stop. If you scream really loud, and I don't know if you have it in you to do that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have.
I don't think you have it in
I don't
you.
have big kids yet.
But we all know, like, a parent that could be scary,
Yeah.
the kid is going to stop doing what they're doing. The problem is that, what are we teaching them, right?
Can't get caught doing this again.
Yeah,
That's what it teaches
either I have
me.
to
Hide it.
hide what I'm doing, or, you're really crushing their self-esteem. It just comes with such a heavy price tag. They learn no coping skills and they become really angry adults sometimes.
Yeah, it fractures a relationship. Just like you
True.
said, a relationship is important. So
Yeah. How are they going to learn any different if,
they just
So,
feel shut off.
right. So kids will stop if you yell hard enough, or if a parent, God forbid, hits them, they will stop. But at a certain point, you don't have that control anymore. And you can yell as loud as you want,
You
and your
lost
child
them.
will slam the door in your face and walk out and say, bye,
I
I'm
love
going
teenage-
to my friend's house.
Also, you said something very nice at one of your parenting classes that I went to. Moms these days are going over the top, making lavish meals and doing everything,
Yes.
every single thing. And you were saying how, like, back in the day, you would go to your mom's house and, like, really not take so much on your plate. I would love for you to say more about that.
It's so funny because we're not that many years apart, but my generation,
No, the
we-
way things happen now versus
Yeah.
even, I'm saying then, but you're really not even that much older
I'm
than
not
us.
No,
even
you're
that
not
much
either.
older.
But it's a then because
It's a
it's
then.
It's a
shifted so
different,
much.
different.
So much. When we had our babies, like, it was unheard of to have a nurse for 3 months. It didn't matter how much
6.
money you had, and we were forced to be home. We bought all new pajamas when we knew we were going to, like, give
So
birth.
funny. My mom also, I remember that. Like,
It
she was
was
home
so
in her
fun.
pajamas and her pretty slippers.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Waiting for visitors with
Yeah.
stuff on the table. And we were home for 3 months. And if we're lucky, 3 months. I was a zombie, walking around a zombie. And now these moms are just bouncing back so quickly. And
I was in Uri 4 days later after I
was
had
in
Elliot.
prime cut.
And somebody goes, "Why are you here? Didn't you just have a baby?"
Yeah.
I go, "Yeah, and?"
Yeah. Oh, so
I go, "And where's the dinner coming from? And who's doing the grocery order?"
yeah. Yeah. But
I
somehow,
mean, whatever they deliver, but
yeah, but
you get the point.
somehow, like,
We didn't stop.
well, yeah, it became very fast, like very fast paced.
Also, there's no culture that lets you stop. I think it's maybe like what you're saying is that everybody was doing that. Everybody was in their pajamas and, like taking that time. It was a known thing. Now I think it's that complete opposite. Everybody
Right.
knows get back to work, get back to
To
what you got to
tennis.
do.
I see girls your
Tennis.
age, like, I'm like, are you sure you could be on the court? Like,
Yeah.
I remember, like, my doctor told me, like, at least 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I was like, still, let's be careful,
Yeah, people learn exercise 3 to 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
Not okay.
2 to 3. I think you said something that really, is important. And that is that we live in a culture that's so fast. So we have to slow down in whatever way that we can. And we have to not listen to the noise and not worry about what's going on the outside, because it's so impossible to be everything and everywhere and be your best self at the same time.
Exactly.
It's just impossible. Parents want to know they're up from 6, they're going out at night till 11, and they want to know why they don't have patience. And
oh
I'm
my God,
like,
you're like talking to me.
yeah, and I'm like, of course not. I have all the skills in the world, and if I did that,
not
you would see a
possible.
wreck of a parent every single night.
Because like Flo said, I think it could be something that's a generational thing. I don't know, but we just want to do everything and great.
We want to host every meal.
We
we want to have the
host
prettiest
meals. We want to be
platters.
dressed. We want to work. We
wanna-
want to exercise. We want to be parents. We want to wait for the bus to come home.
True.
Right.
And we want to go with our friends and our husband.
We never want to drop any of the balls, and you want to do them great. Of course, I want to be an amazing mother. But like you're saying, that also requires being your best self and giving to that and learning and growing for yourself.
Yes.
And you're saying like,
It's not lazy. And I think
and also like when you're thinking about,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have the head to deal with this right now, which is sometimes a lot of us when we're dealing with parenting issues, like those are important key moments. But because we're so overwhelmed with life
It's true.
and everything else, sometimes that doesn't take a back seat because it's still very important to me, but
yes.
it just can't be,
Right.
you know?
You
You don't have any
just-
mental load left.
We're
after the
surviving.
day.
Yes. It's not just a physical stamina, it's an emotional
Yeah.
stamina. Like, I always feel like when I'm, dealing with a challenge with one of my kids, and I have older kids, it doesn't just take a toll on me physically, it takes a toll on me emotionally. So I have to recognize that too. And when I'm going through that kind of time, I really need to focus on refueling and being ready for a drama situation, or let's say I have a daughter who's dating, or you have to be ready.
Yes.
For their
you have to make space for that. Yeah.
Make space for that. Yes, exactly. For those big feelings, I can't just say I'm drained and I can't hear this.
Can't
right
do
now.
this right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what would you recommend to moms to do to make space?
It's so taboo. Like I'm even
Say
afraid
it.
to say, you must rest.
It's so taboo. I swear that's the right way to say it.
It's,
Resting. Somebody told me
yes,
rest.
resting. Like, what is that? And I'm
Who
like,
rests?
me.
You know what?
How
My
do you
mom
rest?
rests, and I
Tell us.
finally, Ma, if you could hear me, shout out to you. But I never
rest.
understood why she rested so much. But
Yeah.
it's because 4 kids, everybody's calling you. You're always doing,
Yes.
and I'm like, no part. Like, okay, like it's time. Like we can do
Yes.
things. No, like she understood her boundaries, and she
Yes.
and she made space for that.
Yes.
Where she is always like, you have a time scheduling issue because I like to schedule everything in one day. I'm like, no, I don't. I got to here on time. I made it to there on time. She's like, that's not what I'm talking about. And now I'm understanding what you're
Yes.
saying.
I am home. You could ask my friends. I get so much done in a day. I really do. And I also take a lot of time doing what I do.
A lot.
A
Which
lot
we'll
of
talk
time.
about.
And so my emotional cup needs to be, really, I need to have some space so that, because it takes a toll on me.
Yeah.
I feel for other people. I really
Yes.
empathize for them. So it
That's
takes
a
a
lot.
toll on me emotionally. So I really need that space to be able to, redirect back to my kids, back to what, my family needs.
Yeah.
And I am home every day around 3:30, drinking a cup of coffee and relaxing.
You're not on your phone. What are you doing? Like, what's rest?
Yeah, what's your
So for the
3:30
most part, I'm not.
look like?
I really try not to be on my phone. I read. I lay down.
You're just sitting on the couch and reading at 3:30.
You're
Yeah.
relaxing.
And I'm drinking my coffee.
You know what? I love
Like a
this.
I'm
Shabbat
looking at a
thing.
magazine.
Your kids aren't home yet.
No.
So this is in total silence, and you just
Silence.
have
Yeah.
how long does this happen for?
If I could get home at 2:30, I would. Most of the time, it's about 45 minutes to an hour.
And
that I
then by
have it.
like 5:00, your kids roll in. It's dinner. It's the rush.
So I make sure to change into comfortable clothing if I want to shower and I feel like icky. I know that icky thing is going to bother me all
Yes.
night when my kids come home. I have to go to the bathroom before my kids come home
Yes.
because the second they walk in the door,
Oh, you're never sitting down.
they're following me to the bathroom, screaming different things at the same time. So I'm not just emotionally ready, I'm physically ready.
Mm-hmm.
So if I didn't eat lunch, like I'll have a nice big snack, like, just to make sure I have
This is a
fuel.
very good tip.
I have fuel and I'm ready. And
You're ready for the
storm
game.
that's-
Mentally and physically prepare
yeah, the
while
storm
you
that
have
walks
me
in,
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am ready.
You're like, hit me. I can handle it.
Yeah,
I love
I'm
that.
ready.
I think
I'm
that's what
caffeinated.
all like
Yeah.
moms our age need to hear.
Yeah.
We don't
Honestly,
do
I
that.
agree.
I'm not afraid.
I come
to
straight
have
from
my
my
kids
office,
come home.
running through the door to get my kid. Let's go after school programs. This one go to dinner, and my head is still spinning because I just left my office running
Yes.
down the block like a crazy
Yes.
person. So
Yes.
I had no time to like recenter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always trying to do a million things at
So-
once. Flo's laughing badly because she knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was a lot like you.
Yeah.
Very much like you. And it took me a long time
Could we
to
hang out?
realize that something has to give.
Yes.
And I don't want it to be my health.
Well, I don't want it to be my health or my job either.
Right.
So like, what gives?
Right. So what gives? So that's the thing that, only you can carve out that time. So maybe it's friend time. Maybe it's,
Oh, my friend time.
I'm
I'm gonna call you after this. We're gonna figure this out.
We
but-
have to. This is a priority because if our cup isn't full, we can't fill anyone else's cup, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of people in our lives
Yeah,
that
didn't
we
even
need to.
speak about our husbands that we all have to be the
Husbands,
anchor
kids, and daughter-in-laws, sister-in-laws. We just have a lot of obligations, and we need to pace ourselves. I learned through trial and error that if I want to feel good and feel like, at least I put in my all, that doesn't necessarily mean that my kids are not going to tantrum or that my kids are not going to have challenges. It just means that I am ready.
for, and you're not gonna blow up
right.
from every little,
Right.
overstimulation that
Right.
happens.
Because
Right.
you're not overstimulated.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And
But
I'm
that's
not
huge.
anxious. I'm not in an anxious state. Like, let's go. I remember taking my daughter to tennis when she was, I don't know, for a few years. And I was like, this is ruining everyone's life.
Ruining everyone's life. I just want to
Ruining
talk
everyone's
about it.
life. Friday programs ruining everything's ruining my, so I said,
Run home, have to
no
be
more
there.
programs. No more
should do this.
programs. And it's like, wow, all of a sudden the chaos stops.
The
And I was
second
like,
anybody cancels and there's no program that day, I'm a new person.
I'm
I'm not
Then
on
what
a
do you do
clock. I
with
don't have to
them?
run home.
nothing.
They had a whole long day at school. See
Yeah.
ya.
So why is program such a?
It's not. And my kids don't go to program. They go to therapies and all that kind of stuff. And it's very good for them and they need it. And, you know,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the day that I don't have to do that anymore. But
They don't come to the house?
so some people do, some people
people
don't.
don't,
You know,
right.
you want to go to the good people. You have to put in the effort. It's not
Right.
always
Yeah.
easy, but
Right.
sometimes it's worth
I've
it.
had that too.
But yeah,
So
it
that's a
definitely puts
priority.
a stressor in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always say there's no right or wrong. It's what works for the parent and what works for the child. So if a mom's okay driving after school to pick up her kid from a program, great. And the child likes it, that's great. If the mom's going to be a wreck when she comes home and the child's going to be overtired and the night's going to be like, okay, we have to shower. You went to program. You have to go to sleep. You have to
Yeah.
eat.
Rushed.
Rush, rush, rush. No time to connect.
Let's go.
Were your friends
Yeah.
like supportive of you? Like, let's say when you were doing things differently and figuring out your
Yeah.
parenting style.
Yeah, my friends are the best. I'm so blessed. They've been begging me to do so much for so long. That's why I think it happened
I'm
organically.
lucky that you have good friends that are like lifting you
Yeah,
up.
it
you know?
happened organically. I am a student of Esther Tawachi's. She is
She's great.
my role model.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I love her so much. I had a very close relationship with her. Although we were in a large class, I just felt that I took to the class really well and we took to each other really well. And Esther kept encouraging me like, you know, one day I'm going to retire. Like, you know, I want you to do this. Like, I want, you know, really, I think you could do this. And I used to watch her like out of her element and spend time with her. And I remember thinking, this is someone that I admire because she's not just speaking about parenting. It's so much more than that. She is a
Like she embodies it.
She embodies the character traits that I admire. Her patience, her tolerance, her ability to communicate, her acceptance, like all these different things. When people couldn't reach Esther Tawachi, they would, call me because I was like the student pet,
Yeah.
like what would Esther
The
say?
apprentice.
Wow.
Yeah. What would Esther say? And then Esther used to send people to call me because she was so overwhelmed. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, I'm getting a lot of phone calls every week. And then I took phone calls for, I think, like 12 years.
Just as a good
You
Joe,
still
like
do.
not
Yeah,
even doing this
yeah.
as a
Yeah,
business.
just-
So
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
So, like,
this is the first year since September that I started charging.
Really?
Yeah.
I
And
had no
I think
idea.
I've spoken to thousands of moms over the years. And I always felt that, parenting advice should be accessible to everybody.
Yes.
And, therapists now cost $300 or more.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
I
I mean, we love you therapists, but it's expensive.
It's very
yeah,
expensive.
of course. But I think that sometimes you just also need a person with fresh eyes that could see the situation from different angles without.
Also, that's going through the same lifestyle.
Yes.
One.
I think is something that, like, even if you look at movies, I don't really identify with any of the mothers that I see in movies because, I mean, except for, don't laugh at me and don't quote me, Kris Kardashian, but like, these people don't, I'll tell you why in a second. These people don't have the same lifestyle that we have. Meaning, I said Kris Kardashian because she has a million kids going on. They very much value personal family time. She's close with the kids. She's close with the grandkids. They're always hosting. They're always entertaining.
My husband's going to block this episode.
God.
I'm
I
sorry.
also
Don't
love
make
the
fun of me.
Kardashians. I love them. So
It's not
That's
even
her
that. I just
downside.
respect it because American motherhood doesn't look like our version of motherhood. It's very corporate. They have 1 to 2 kids. They're, daycare. They're never putting the pressure. I'm sorry for overgeneralizing, but I'm just saying from what I see. And take our kind of motherhood and it's so layered. We have so much going on,
Yes.
and then there's the culture. So that, that's why I said crispy, just because it's a version of something I could possibly relate to
Right.
on TV of like, she also has to like, deal with events and social life and all of these things and, a big family. So
Yes.
that
And grandkids
Yeah.
and divorces in the family and,
just
Drama.
like real
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like being close with your family members. We're all in each other's business, you know?
Yes.
So in that way, I found it to be really
Yeah, sibling rivalry,
Yeah.
you could see,
Exactly.
True.
It's true. But I think that when parents tell me I want to be the best mother, I feel horrible about myself. I've been yelling all day, and I always tell them it's never too late and there's no such thing as being perfect.
Does yelling at your kid all day make you a bad mother? Could we just
No.
qualify that out here?
Never. We all yell at our kids. I think what separates us from being bad is our intentions and our feelings after. So when we feel bad after, that makes us good mothers.
Because you care.
Because you care. You might think you're right, and that's okay. But we kind of feel bad inside. And I think that loving our kids, it's such a simple thing, but so complicated at the same time. I always tell parents, like, I'm giving you permission to love your kids. Like, it's so weird
Sometimes
to say.
you feel as a parent you have to be authoritative
Yes.
and make rules,
Yes.
and you don't want to be that mom
Right.
that's like, oh, that's the fun mom. Like she's
Yes.
not a real, you know,
It's
she's not a good
okay.
mother because she has
Right.
no rules and you
Right.
eat candy every day.
Right. It's okay
That's my mom.
that you don't that you're not teaching right now.
Yeah.
It's okay that you're not, like correcting them right now.
Also, kids need friends. They need
They
someone
do.
to talk to. When you're a
You wanna
kid,
be a
everything's
friend.
so confusing, and you fight with your friend in class. It's the end of the world, and like you just want to come home and
Yes.
somebody gets it. Not like that. You're doing your
Yes.
homework.
Not
So there's
judging
definitely
you.
times where we want to teach. And there's definitely times, I think there's more opportunities to teach than there are to just connect.
Yeah.
But I
But
think
it's
when we're
important.
intentional about our time when we're connecting, that's what makes the difference. Mommy and me special time, where a child could look forward to spending that quality time with their parents, knowing like, okay, there's so much chaos going on, but these 5 minutes are coming up, and then I could unload. I always like to give this example about, a husband who's in work all day and has so much on his plate, comes home and has so many emails to check, and then he puts his phone down and he says, for the next 10 minutes, I'm all yours. You are my top priority.
At Morris Michon, please tune in.
You know what? I don't care if my business falls apart. You're the most important thing in the world to me. So this phone
I
is
love that
done.
it just could be for 10 minutes. We don't have to pretend like
Yeah.
we're giving up our lives, jobs, anything like that.
10
But just to
minutes,
give
eye
somebody 5 to 10
contact.
minutes.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's
Acceptance.
so much harder said than done. So I'm not
So
faulting
much harder.
anybody. What are the things that we could control by being a good mom? And then what are the things that are just not in our control? And if they happen, you're still a good mom and you did your best.
Yeah, that's such a good question. So I always tell parents we have very little control. And I'm a parenting coach. So, that's not a good look for someone who's a parenting coach to say. But it's the truth. In the Torah, it says that it's Hashem, the father, and the mother. So we are partners with Hashem when it comes to raising our kids. We could only do so much, but our kids are going to live their life and hopefully with some of the guidance you gave them, but we don't have control over the outcome. We really don't. And I know this because our forefathers had, Yitzhak had Esav, Abraham had Ishmael. The greatest of greats had children who were not the best kids, who were rebellious. So it really teaches me, and it makes me humble when I say that we could do our hishtadlut, and we should do it in the best way that we can, loving them unconditionally, trying to teach them our values. But at the end of the day, we don't have control over the outcome. So that should make you feel empowered to know that you are part of the process, but also
It's not all on you.
a relief because Hashem is in control of the outcome.
You also said something very nice once. Hashem gives you the neshama of your child because you're the best person fit to raise it.
I love
Yes.
It's like you're supposed to just, what you
Yes.
say,
So
develop
I always
the
tell
child.
parents when they say, like, I'm telling you, like, my child deserves a better parent. I'm killing my child. I'm really a bad fit. Hashem entrusted you with this neshama, knowing that you are the only person in the whole world that could help this neshama fill its potential and thrive. So Hashem picked you, and Hashem knows better than you. You could give your child to me, and he wouldn't turn out as good as
Also,
he
it's
would
like
with
your
you.
personal test. It's like the thing that challenges you is also the thing that changes you. So it's like,
Yes.
I saw that so much with my first son. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing at all. And there were so many things where I'm just like, somebody help, and I don't know.
That's brave.
And honestly, I think being Eddie's mom really changed me into the best version possible because I
Yes.
had to. And
You didn't have to. You were open to.
I was open to, and I wanted to be the
Different.
best parent for him and for both of us.
I want to say something about that. To become a better person, a better parent, we have to remove our egos sometimes.
Check it at the door. Very
check
important.
it at the door and say to ourselves, maybe this child is not checking off boxes expectations, yeah, that we wish they would. Maybe their personalities are not so easy to swallow at times. But seeing that it's a spiritual journey and that the child that you have is the child that's, it's a perfect fit for the mom and the child and their siblings and their aunts and their uncles.
Yeah, there's so many things.
There's
at
so
play.
many components, and
A lot
it
of
all
moving
makes
parts.
sense. It all makes sense. I don't think every parent is ready to say, I'm ready to put my ego aside and my agenda and all my expectations for my child and, leave them at the door. So I think it's a really special thing, especially, raising such young kids, that you are so open to learning about your child and wanting to parent him according to his way.
It depends on your goals and how you look at it. In a selfish way, it's also helpful to kind of put your all into your kids when they're young to get the best adults out of them,
Right.
that you could,
Right.
that we could.
When we have kids, we have to realize that it's a very self-centered idea. I want to have a baby. I can't wait for the baby to come, and this boy is going to be so cute like my father and athletic like my brothers, and the girl is going to definitely be talented in this way. And we have all these expectations floating in our head, thinking that our kids are going to be exactly the way we imagine them to be. A mother called me the other day. She tells me, I had 4 boys and then I have a girl.
Oh my God,
And-
how did you do it?
And she
Please call me if you were this
she
person.
was like, you would think, like,
I have to
I
go back.
prayed for this, that my daughter would be this like girly, like I want to wear bows, and
Oh
I
my
couldn't
God.
wait to dress her. And of course she's a tomboy. Of course she loves basketball. She will not wear pink. And I laughed because I said, like, for some reason, when we think about
Yeah.
our first
Yeah.
girl, we
Yeah.
think bows
Oh
and
my God,
pink.
this is me.
And I realized that we have to really think about, like, prepare ourselves that we might not have the child that we imagined we would have.
Yeah, on my Pinterest board, but that's okay. And you have to
Right.
kind of just go with the one you got.
And know that it's the best one to have.
But they
It wasn't
scare
their
you,
fault.
like,
They came out of the world. They're born. This is who they are. It's
Even
not
with
their fault that I want them to
milestones.
be, pink and whatever.
bulls, even with milestones and everything. It's like my husband came home. He's like, our son's like not talking. I'm like, he's legit 12 months old. And then he's like, well, I don't know. Like, I'm like, no. Like, let him
Everything is
be.
fine.
Like,
Yeah.
it's okay. They
Yeah.
scare you on TikTok, milestone checklists, this, that.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Yes.
I
And
mean, you have to be aware, but like not pressuring.
yes, it's so
That's
much
the
pressure.
mom anxiety that is
Yeah.
just always creeps
Right.
in.
The outcome is not in our control. All we have to do, and it's a very simple thing, is love our kids.
Love. That should be the topic of the episode.
I
That's
love
it.
that.
Love your kids.
It's very
And also
simple.
make time
Love
for
them.
yourself, like you said, so
Yeah.
you're able to provide that, which is my last segue that I wanted to talk about, is kind of where you're at now and how did you kind of take a step into, you just said you just started being a parenting coach as like a full-time profession.
I was also teaching groups, parenting groups, and I love that part. It's a 6-week course that I give once a week for an hour. Really, it's like 2 hours because I
Basically
really
like group therapy.
Yeah, it's great.
it's really calculated
Okay,
and
fine,
really
fine.
scripted. I have an agenda for each class, and
Okay.
it's like the building blocks.
Could we say what's coming?
Oh yeah, you could say.
Yeah, that's
It's
why I
gonna
wanted
be-
to hint to
It's
it.
going to be online soon for everyone that can't make it, right?
Yeah, hopefully, if I ever get it done,
You will get it
you
done.
will. You
And
will.
OnBrand Media We love working with you. And that's why this has also been such a fun episode to like collab in motherhood and in work. But yes, I love that.
these girls.
So,
I can't.
And you just started charging now. So you were always doing it, but now you're really noticing
Like, how did you encourage yourself to get to this place?
I want to say that I'm really proud of the effort I put into being uncomfortable and working on my character traits. I am definitely not the same person I was 17 years ago. You wouldn't recognize me. I'm happy that, I worked on myself, and I'm so grateful to my kids that they taught me and they inspired me to become better. At the end of the day, I think I'm raising kids that love me. Thank God, because I love them, and life is a mirror reflection, I think. And kids that respect me, and kids like all other kids with, ups and downs and different challenges,
But like the
everybody
powers
else.
in your relationship with them.
Yes. Are they perfect? Absolutely
Nobody's
not.
perfect.
Do I want them to be perfect? Absolutely not.
How do you say that?
I know
Sure.
because you know why?
You just embrace what you got.
It's
You're
it's
right.
also, there's so much beauty in imperfection.
Yes.
Right.
And if
You
our
just
kids
laugh.
are perfect,
Yeah.
then what's
It's
their
boring.
journey about?
Yeah.
Like,
I
Right.
turn around and my son's on a coffee. He's 2. He's on a coffee table and standing up and dancing. And I'm like,
That's
where
so
do you
cute.
get this from? Like, you're
Yeah.
table dancing at 2? Like, it just wants to
Yeah.
feel the beat, Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Good for him. It's just funny. Like,
And
they all have their own things. Their
we're
own
so
quirks.
timid. Don't you find
Yeah.
we're so timid? Like, why can't we dance with them?
Oh, my God. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I do dance parties in the morning. It's so not
Yeah,
my type,
and
but my kids love it.
It keeps you like
Silly.
silly.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be childish, it's okay to be silly. And you'll find that when there's a lot of serious things going on in your life, and you could pause and look through a child's eyes and just see they're in the moment and
Yeah,
they're
they're just
dancing on the
laughing with you,
table,
yeah.
and you join in on that, that's really therapeutic for a parent, of course. And really adjusting our expectations
Yeah.
according to their needs and not ours, and seeing what their path is, and
check
not
your
what
ego at the door, folks.
What'd you say?
I said, check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
Sometimes
and really,
it's hard. Oh, my kid's not that type.
Right.
They might be, and that's okay.
right.
Or I'm not that. Okay, you might be. And
Or
you might have
for
to
a
change
lot
it.
of parents, like, who, let's say, were very socially popular, and their child is not. That's a real hit to them. Like,
It's
and,
okay. What are
right?
you gonna do?
But I could understand like how that could be hard, because they felt really good, and that really contributed to their self-esteem growing up. And now they have a child who's struggling, and it's hard to detach.
It's hard to watch.
Not
and,
like
yeah.
see yourself in your child.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to bring your things into it, your previous history
Yes,
into it.
because then it just blinds you.
Yeah.
So when you come into parenting with baggage, and your child comes
Check
to
it at
you,
the door.
yeah, comes to you with, like something that reminds you of a time where it was painful, or a time where you felt successful, you have to really check in with yourself if you're biased, if
And like
you're
projecting that
or
onto them.
projecting, right? And can you be giving the right advice now, or are you still very much invested in
Yeah.
parenting yourself?
Yeah.
I think one of the challenges for me is that I know the script very well.
Yeah, because you're the expert. You
but-
have everybody's
right.
different experiences.
It's true, but to be present and emotionally connected at the same time is really the X factor. Because you could say the right thing, but if you're not present, or you're not emotionally like connected, and making eye contact with them and feeling for them and being
Yeah.
empathetic with them, they sense it.
Yeah.
They know it.
You're sitting and scrolling on your phone. They're like, I know she doesn't even care what I'm saying.
Right. Or like, I'm just good at saying, okay, what's bothering you? Tell mommy so I can help you. My kids could sense that over, oh, I feel so bad. What could I do? Mommy's here,
Yeah, when you're being genuine about it, it's very easy to say that,
Say.
talk the talk, what
Right.
they tell you, but
Right.
how do you like really apply it that your kids
Right.
know you're serious and that
Right.
you mean it? Or
So for me, it's like, another, I
you don't
have
want
the
to be
language.
like, don't parent me, like don't
Yeah.
parent coach me.
Right. So for me, I have the language.
Yeah.
I have the skills. but I always have to remind myself to be present and, you know, really feel for them and just be in the moment with them.
That's
I'm
the key
human.
to being a good mom.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm human. I
We're
make
all
mistakes.
human. That's the point of this podcast.
Exactly.
For anybody listening, the
Yeah.
point of this is real, authentic, relatable
Yeah.
conversations. Nobody here is perfect, and we're not trying to be. So if that's
Yeah.
something that you vibe with, then keep watching.
Keep watching.
Yeah.
I think the key takeaways were love, rest, relationship.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
And it's a
process, and we're always
Parenting
learning.
is a process and a journey. There's no destination. It's just a process and being okay, you know, day to day, just growing slowly.
Norma, this was unbelievable.
Great. Thank you
I
so
I
much
think
for
I could talk to
coming.
you for another 7 hours. I probably have to
could
book a
talk to you
one-on-one
guys
call.
forever.
We'll do it.
But this was amazing. Thank you so much for being on
Thank
here
you.
and
I'm
being
I'm so honored
real.
to be on here. I love you
Thank you.
guys.
And raw
You're
with us. We
great.
loved
so
it.
proud of you. You guys
Thank
are
you.
incredible. Really.
Thank you
I'm
so
so impressed
much.
by you.
It means a lot. Don't worry.
Okay,
We-
don't
we
be
love
impressed
to
by
hear it.
me.
Thank
I'm
you.
impressed
I'm so
by
No,
you
we
happy
are.
for you.
If I ever get around to reading a book, I would love to read your book.
Everyone
I would
order
love
it.
to send you one.
Yeah, could
I
you?
donate all the proceeds to charity.
Oh, that's
so
so nice.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so
How could we find
beautiful.
it? Where do you sell books?
We're gonna link it.
Amazon.
Amazon, everybody, is where you could find Norma's book, and I'm probably going to be buying it and attempting to read it all summer.
It's very short and sweet,
fine.
and it's not intimidating.
I love that.
And
Thank
stay tuned for her course.
Stay tuned for the course that's
Yeah.
coming out hopefully soon.
Hopefully.
And
It will.
hopefully
September.
It's gonna happen.
tune in to the next podcast.
Tune into the next one.
Flo, that was a very good combo.
I really like that.
I feel like a personality imposter syndrome because like we're podcasters and we have a guest, but I like that. That was fun.
Also, I love that it was Norma. She really,
Vibe.
like, I met her right when I gave birth because I was like, I don't connect with anyone around me. Like,
You
what should I?
called her for advice?
I called her. That's how I
You
met
did
her.
not tell me
Oh,
that.
okay.
You
So I
skipped the whole
called
story.
Norma for advice because I had my sister, I had my mom, I had my friends, my group chat, and I was like they all had
Go
like
you,
2,
you
3
called
kids.
somebody right when you had a baby.
And then I was like, Norma, what do I do? Like, he's crying in his crib, and I don't want to let him cry it out. Can I
You
just
still have
take
the same
him
problem
out?
today.
I do, but
Could
now
you
he's a little
ask her
better.
again?
And she told me like a lot of good advice, and we just became friends. And now she's gonna start her business, which is great.
I'm very excited for that. I need the
and
online
yeah.
parenting courses.
But I feel like it was great for a lot of
It
people.
was, and I feel like this is something that people could really relate to and resonate with. And I hope for anybody watching that you guys let us know in the comments if this is something you want to see more of or what topics you want us to cover next. And you could always find
And
our podcast
yes.
on Spotify and some cool clips on Instagram.
Also, verify your account and text us who you want to see next on the pod. Also, if you guys have any requests about the pod, we're still learning what you guys want to hear and which people you want on. So feel free to let us know.
We love your feedback. Anybody who
Love.
has sent us any messages, so appreciated. And we
Thank you.
can't wait to continue doing more of these.